All right, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be leading off with the man from Maryland who was deported to El Salvador due to an administrative error. So there is an update on that. I don't believe I covered it, but we're going to go over just the case, who this guy is, and what evidence they have against him. And we're going to talk about CECOT, the El Salvadorian labor camp, and why we should be taking this more serious, because this is, by all the information we have right now, an innocent man who was sent to a very horrendous place. So let's start off with that. So from the AP, judge says deportation of Maryland man to El Salvador prison was wholly lawless. The U.S. government's decision to arrest a Maryland man and send him to a notorious prison in El Salvador appears to be wholly lawless, a federal judge wrote Sunday in a legal opinion explaining why she had ordered the Trump administration to bring him back to the United States. There is little to no evidence to support a vague, uncorroborated allegation that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was once in the MS-13 street gang, U.S. District Judge Paula Xinis wrote, and in any case, she said an immigration judge has expressly barred the U.S. in 2019 from deporting Abrego Garcia to El Salvador, where he faced likely persecution by local gangs. As defendants acknowledge that they have no legal authority to arrest him, no justification to detain him, and no grounds to send him to El Salvador, let alone deliver him into one of the most dangerous prisons in the Western Hemisphere, Xinis wrote, and more on that prison here at the end of the video. She said it was eye-popping that the government had argued that it could not be forced to bring Abrego Garcia back because he is no longer in U.S. custody. So when the administration admitted this error, there's kind of like two stories they're going with here. And it's hard to tell which one the leading narrative is, but you'll see these dumb conservatives online regurgitate either. So first one is they say is, yes, it was an administrative error, but he is still actually a criminal and alleged gang member, and he was actually a leader of this MS-13 gang, and there was an administrative error, but he should still be there because he's still a criminal. And then the second thing they're going with is, yeah, we know he shouldn't be there. We know we made a mistake, but like he's in El Salvador right now, and we don't have the authority to bring him back. What do you mean you don't have the authority to bring him back? Because he's no longer in U.S. custody. What are you talking about? You think that if you called up the El Salvadorian president right now, Bukele, and said, hey, we sent someone there by mistake, can you please send him back? You think he's going to tell you no? What do you mean you don't have authority because he's no longer in U.S. custody? Like, what are you talking about? It's obvious they don't care. I don't know why. It's either they just don't really want to, because that would just cement the mistake they made. Or it's hard to see their angle here. And of course, we just have more blatant ignoring of a judge's order. They do indeed cling to the stunning proposition that they can forcibly remove any person, migrant and U.S. citizen alike, to prisons outside the United States, and then badly assert that they have no way to effectuate return because they are no longer in the custodian. And the court thus lacks jurisdiction, Xinis wrote. As a practical matter, the facts say otherwise. The Justice Department has asked the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to pause Xinis' ruling. Abrego Garcia, a 29-year-old Salvadorian national who has never been charged or convicted of any crime, was detained by immigration agents and deported last month. Abrego Garcia had a permit from DHS to legally work in the U.S. and was a sheet metal apprentice pursuing a journeyman license. His attorney said his wife is a U.S. citizen. The White House has described Abrego Garcia's deportation as an administrative error, but has also cast him as an MS-13 gang member. Attorneys for Abrego Garcia said there is no evidence he was an MS-13. In her order Sunday, Xinis referenced earlier comments from now suspended Justice Department attorney Erez Ravuni, in which Ravuni said, we concede he should not have been removed to El Salvador, and that he responded, I don't know, when asked why Abrego Garcia was being held. The Justice Department placed Ravuni on leave after he made the comments. So yeah, I'm not sure of the full story on why he was placed on leave, but it sounds like, he gave the game away. He admitted the mistakes and they put him on leave. Like, They are. It's like they're reading a book on like, how do we make ourselves look as guilty as possible right now. That's exactly what they're doing. Attorney General Pam Bondi, in an interview on Fox News Sunday, likened Ravuni's comments to a defense attorney walking in conceding something in a criminal matter. That would never happen in this country, she said. So he's on administrative leave now, and we'll see what happens. Oh my. Stacey Young, Stacey. Did I say Stacey or Stacy? Anyways, let's repeat that. Stacey Young, a former Justice Department lawyer and founder of Justice Connection, a network of department alumni that works to support employees, released a statement that defended Ravuni and said he has zealously represented the United States in some of the most high stakes and controversial immigration cases under the Obama, Trump, and Biden administrations. Justice Department attorneys are being put in an impossible position. Obey the president or uphold their ethical duty to the court and the Constitution, Young said. We should all be grateful to DOJ lawyers who choose principle over politics and a rule of law over partisan loyalty. I don't know what, like, I disagree that these Justice Department attorneys are put in an impossible position. Like, you, for like any position, it's Constitution above all else, whether you're, immigration lawyer or whether you're in the military. It is your duty to uphold the Constitution above anything else in the military. If you get a unlawful order, it is your constitutional duty to not carry that order out. So it's not a impossible position. You uphold the Constitution and that's the end of it. And you die on that hill. Because if you don't, then why do we have a Constitution? Why do we do this whole democracy thing? Why do we have this whole checks and balances thing? As we're learning more and more, our entire checks and balances system, it's crazy it made it this long because it seems to be mostly reliant on just good faith. Anyways, as promised. So I asked ChatGPT regarding the case for Abrego Garcia. Despite the Trump administration admitting his deportation was an error, many conservatives still insist he's a criminal and possible gang leader. Is there any actual evidence to support this? So right here, in 2019, an immigration judge granted Abrego Garcia withholding of removal status, recognizing the credible threat and persecution he faced from gangs in El Salvador. This decision was made despite allegations from a confidential informant suggesting his involvement with MS-13, which were not substantiated with concrete evidence. Abrego Garcia has consistently denied any gang affiliation, and his attorneys have emphasized that he has no criminal record in the U.S. or El Salvador. So the only thing they've had against this guy was there was a confidential informant suggesting he had involvement with MS-13. But there was no concrete evidence of that. The judge saw that and said, hey, we're not going to send this guy back to El Salvador. There's no criminal charges against him. He has no record in El Salvador. He has no record in the U.S. So he's going to stay here. And then, all of a sudden, 6 years later, the Trump administration deports him despite that status. And despite him still, despite an additional 6 years of living here, no criminal record. And as we talked about, he was like a metal worker. He is married, has a wife, and I believe kids as well. So what are we doing? And it's so disgusting to still see these MAGA brain rot idiots come out and defend this. And then always like make jokes about how anytime like an actual criminal gets locked up and deported, they come out and say, oh, leftists are going to come out and find a reason to say he's innocent. It's like, no, I'm not against, cracking down on actual criminals. I am against cracking down on people who aren't criminals. I am against the lack of due process for everyone. Like, criminal or not, you get due process. That's like kind of the whole point, to make sure you're actually a criminal. So yeah, like, sorry for believing in the Constitution, because once you remove due process, they can do it to anyone. You're looking El Salvadorian today. Oh, you don't have your ID on you? We're going to black bag you and take you and deport you to El Salvador. What are you going to do about it? There's no trial. There's no due process. Insane. Furthermore, Abrego Garcia's attorneys have pointed out that the government's allegations are based on unverified claims and have not been supported by any formal charges or convictions. They argue that labeling him as a gang member without substantial evidence not only jeopardizes his safety, but also undermines the integrity of the legal process. Yeah, it's like the whole point. over here, I also asked, what are some of the human rights violations alleged against CECOT? CECOT is the El Salvadorian labor camp. I like to call it a concentration camp because it's not much different. So we have overcrowding and inhumane conditions. CECOT is reported to house inmates in severely overcrowded cells with some holding more than 100 individuals. Each cell only contains 2 toilets and 2 sinks. 2 toilets and 2 sinks shared between 100 people. And obviously they lack adequate bedding and mattresses, blanket sheets, etc. Lack of due process. So this is mainly about the people in El Salvador who were rounded up and sent there without any due process. And funny, this point exactly applies to the people we are sending there, because we are not sending people there with due process. A report just came out the other day. A couple hundred people, it said, that were sent there had no evidence or criminal records at all. Like, so stop with the straw man of like, oh, the left is defending gang members and terrorists, bro. Like, no, we're not. Most of these people aren't gang members or terrorists. And if they are, there should be due process, and we should get the evidence to make sure that, so we're not sending innocent people there like we have been. Denial of basic rights. Inmates are reportedly denied outdoor recreation, family visits, and adequate medical care. Food quality is also a concern, with reports indicating insufficient and inadequate meals. Deaths in custody. Human rights organizations have documented deaths in custody, attributing them to inhumane conditions, lack of medical care, and alleged abuse. So, again, and we're just sending people here with no trial, no due process. And when reporters or judges representing these people, not representing, but handling the cases of these people, are asking for evidence, and the government's just giving them the middle finger. Like anything from just saying, like, you don't have jurisdiction, we're not going to give you shit. Or, yeah, we have evidence, but we're not going to tell you it. Trust us. Or pulling the whole state secrets privilege. Like, what are we doing? Stop defending this shit. Like, this is gross. And yeah, and unfortunately, this is just one case of many. And we're going to probably keep learning more and more and more. You hate to see it. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.